Am I wrong for not talking to my mom? I, 28F, have always had a complicated relationship with my mom, 45F. I've talked to my best friend, 28F, and my boyfriend, 29M, and they both agree that I'm not in the wrong. But I wanted to share my story. My parents had me as teenagers and they were not ready. My mom often said she was pressured into having me. My dad and I never had a close relationship. Whenever he visited, he and my mom would spend time together while I felt like a third wheel. I was their child. Shouldn't I have mattered? When I was 9, the three of us moved into a house. At first it seemed okay, but soon things fell apart. My dad became abusive toward my mom, verbally, emotionally, and physically. Sometimes it happened in front of me, sometimes not, but he would always turn into a different person. At one point, he nearly caused a fire in the house with all of us inside. Eventually, my mom had enough. With the help of my grandfather and uncle, we moved back in with my grandparents. The following years were rough. My dad stayed away from my mom, but I still had occasional contact with him. He was never responsible, always downplayed his mistakes, and told me to just move on whenever I was upset. Eventually, he remarried and only reached out when it was convenient for him. When I was 13, I had one of the scariest experiences of my life. My mom had been drinking at a family member's house and decided to drive us home. The car swayed on the road, and I was convinced we were going to die. I knew from school ads and TV that drunk driving was dangerous and illegal, and I was terrified the entire ride. We made it home safely, but I was furious. Instead of apologizing, she became angry at me for being upset. She started an argument, called me names, and compared me to my dad. The next day she apologized and I forgave her. But this pattern repeated again and again. Drinking, fighting, apologizing, moving on. Over time I became numb. When I did feel something, it was a mix of anger, sadness, and resentment. Whenever I tried to talk about my feelings, she would dismiss me, tell me to move on, or say I was too sensitive. Sometimes she would remind me that I was her mistake in high school. Hearing that made me feel like I should not exist. I struggled with depression and even attempted to end my life a few times. Instead of supporting me, she scolded me, saying her own life was harder and that she had more reason to be depressed than I did. As the years went on, my mom stopped drinking. Things got somewhat better between us, but she never truly acknowledged the pain she caused or apologized in a meaningful way. Whenever I brought up my depression or past trauma, she made me feel like I was exaggerating, even though I was formally diagnosed. Now as an adult, my boyfriend and I are planning to move in together next year. My mom often jokes about how she can't wait for me to leave so she can finally have her freedom. When I ask if she'll miss me, she says no. I know sometimes she's joking, but it hurts because it reminds me of the things she used to yell at me when I was younger. About 2 weeks ago, she made the same joke she's been making for months. I told her that my boyfriend and I were going on a date, and she said, "Is your date going to be buying a car?" She knows that we're saving money to move out and that we don't have one yet. I just stared at her full of anger, then walked to my room. I didn't yell. I didn't slam doors. I just decided to stop speaking to her. Right now, I still rely on her for rides to work until my boyfriend gets a car, but I also pay rent, cook, clean, and adjust my schedule around hers so she isn't late to work. Despite everything I do, she makes me feel like the smallest inconvenience. So, am I wrong for not talking to my mom?